Hey everyone, Marathon Hurdler here, back with some more Final Fantasy. Last time we explored Mount Gulg, defeated Merilith, and restored the second crystal. Off screen I sold a bunch of my excess equipment, and now I only have the equipment that can be used as an item in battle, so that means the healing staff and the gauntlets, and some of the more recent equipment we picked up for my ninja, so like the flame mail, flame armor, etc. But everything else, like the axes and a lot of the armor that can't be used in battle, I've sold off because really our ninja is the only one who can equip most of that stuff, and yeah, if he has no use for it, then we might as well get some go for it. And despite all of my posturing, we are going to be needing a lot of money today, and the first item we're going to want to buy is this fairies bottle. So I'll show off where I am on the world map. We're in the northwest corner of the map, and we're in the small little desert right here. You walk in there, you go to the caravan, and you can get the fairies bottle, and that's an item we're going to need to be able to continue the plot. And this is a new enemy that I don't think we've shown off before. The Desert Beretta. He can hit pretty hard, his defense is pretty high, as you can see it, but not much we can do about that. We don't really have many options for tackling him otherwise. And yeah, we're just gonna... I mean, he's weak to ice. I think he's weak to ice. I mean, he did pretty good damage there. But I'm pretty sure he's weak to ice, and I don't think there's anything else really notable about him. His health isn't that high, but it just takes a couple turns because he's... Again, he has pretty high defense there, but we should be able to get rid of him in this turn. Yeah. And he's not a great guy to fight because he doesn't give you that much experience, and he only gives you one gil. And, well, like I said before, despite my posturing, we're going to need some more money. As much of it as we can get. Like the $150,000 that I have right now is going to quickly seem like nothing once I finish my shopping today. No, this isn't the right desert. I want to keep going to the east here. Yeah, so this is the town that we're looking for next. It's in the northeast corner of the map, and it is called Gaia. And if you have the fairies bottle, as soon as you walk in, you see the fairy, or it's not clear it's a fairy, but there's a fairy that flies out of there. And we're going to want to track that down in just a second. But before we do that, let's head to the item shop and pick up some new equipment. And we want to get 4 protect rings, not 9, 4. Those are really good because they protect you against instant death, and it's a piece of equipment that our master can actually equip without it messing up his defense. So we're going to want to go ahead and put that on him. And now his defense is greatly improved, and he has protection against instant death, so that's awesome. So we might, well, actually we're going to want to keep him in the 3rd position there because his health isn't that high, and Pinello basically has equivalent defense, so yeah. And then in terms of what you can get here, you can get the cat claws, but I don't really think it's worth it. We're not going to be using our black wizard to be doing any type of physical attacks anyway. So anyway, what we need to do to continue the plot is head to the northwest corner of the map, and then from there we should be able to find what I am looking for. Now, where is it? Now, I thought there was supposed to be like a little lake here or something. Maybe I'm mistaken. Nope, I think that's right. Yeah, so we keep following this little path all the way around, and eventually, if I can stop running into walls and stuff, we find the fairy, and yeah, I mean, I don't know why she's apologizing for running away. She was imprisoned by humans, but not going to argue, because when she comes out, she gives us a very important item, the Oxyale, which we need to continue with the story. So, yeah, that's pretty nice. And, alright. So yeah, now we can basically explore underwater locations, of which there aren't many, but, well, we need this item anyway to continue with the plot. And, wait, is there anything in here? Or is this the, like the church? Yeah, this is like this is the church, I guess. I think that's where you have to go to revive party members if you don't have Phoenix Downs. Like, I mean, this is not me bragging, but I've never actually had a character die that I didn't revive using a Phoenix Down or something. And actually, I don't want to rest yet, because we're going to have to do some more walking before we get to the next town anyway, so let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, so we need to head back in the general direction of where we were before, and we've already kind of overshot it, so let's head south. And our next destination, I think, is in here somewhere. It's like, yeah, it's this waterfall cave area there. So before we go up there, though, I think I'm going to rest up, or at least I was planning to before. Yeah, we'll be fine. We got plenty of ethers, actually. I was going to show off the next town, but I don't know if there's a good reason to do that. Yeah, I don't think there's a good reason to do that, so yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and skip that. If I realize I screwed this up, then, well, I can always re-record, but I don't think I need to go to Onrak, especially since I don't have the magic levels to buy any of the useful spells there, because they don't have a weapon shop or they don't have a weapon or armor shop there, but they do have like level 8, like level 7 or level 8, one of the two, level 7 or 8 spells, and obviously I can't even use level 6 spells yet, so that doesn't really do much for me. So yeah, we'll come back later once we have the requisite levels to deal with that. But for now, we're gonna continue with the plot, because I would really like to get the next crystal done today if possible. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but the gauntlets can cast Andara, but the reason I haven't really been using that to this point is that the damage isn't that great compared to like actually using black magic. Particularly if you are, so like you can see it here, especially mage. So I think the way the damage calculations tend to work is that it's all dependent on like your intelligence stat, and so like our intelligence stat isn't that high, or not ours, but Penelo's isn't that high because she's a white mage and she's more useful as for healing purposes. But yeah, it's, well, at least or maybe I'm wrong about that. I think I might be wrong about that. At any rate, it doesn't do that much damage, so like I usually don't use it that much. Anyway, so where we want to go here is we want to go to the lower left corner of the waterfall cave, and yeah, a lot of these. So some of these enemies, like the nightmares here, are enemies again that we fought recently. So these appeared in the cavern of the Citadel of Trials, but now they shouldn't be much of a challenge because we are leveled up now. So yeah, we'll see if they actually end up presenting a challenge, but I doubt that they will. One thing that is, if you might notice it here, but as you can see, Ram's damage is really starting to catch up with Zidane there, so that's pretty good. And yeah, maybe I'm... No, I was right. So the reason I haven't been using the gauntlets as much is because it is dependent on your intelligence stat, I believe. And unfortunately, Penelo doesn't have as much intelligence as a stat compared to, say, Palom. So Palom would be good using the gauntlets, but he already has access to the black magic anyway, so it's kind of like, why bother, right? So, I mean, I'm not saying you can't use it, but it's not always, like, the damage isn't generally enough to, like, really eliminate most enemies. And I'd rather use the healing staff to try to keep my health up, because we can usually kill most enemies in 2 turns anyway, as opposed to dealing with trying to kill enemies in 1 turn when that's not generally possible. Alright, so actually I think I was wrong before. I don't know if I said the upper left, but we actually want to head to the lower left corner of this room, of this area, but to get there we kind of have to go around the big circle here. Yeah, so we want to head to the lower left. It's kind of like the, whatever that was called earlier. I think it was called the Giant's Cave, wherever we went to get the, where we gave him the ruby and whatnot so we could get to Lich. I have to say, this encounter rate is a tad bit ridiculous right now. Yeah, I don't remember the encounter rate ever being this high. Especially when you're walking around, but oh well. So, again, we have some new enemies here. I think I've shown off all the other enemies, which is why I've been editing out, which is why I'll probably edit out so many battles, but these are mummies. The big thing with them is if they hit you, they can put you to sleep, but I doubt that they're going to get a chance to do much to us there, so yeah, most of the enemies here can be eliminated without even using magic at this point. I haven't been using it nearly as much as I had in the previous dungeon, but it helps. Why not, right? And yeah, so this is the first battle like in a while that I've actually had to use it, because Zidane and Rams have been just cleaning shop with most of the enemies that I've been fighting recently, so. And of course, as soon as I say something, I run into a group of Pyralisks. Thankfully, they weren't able to do anything to me because I have my Protect Rings equipped, but that could have been bad. Alright, so this is the room that we've been looking for this entire time. And I don't think I've shown off the cockatrices. I'm pretty sure I've shown off the Pyralisks, but I don't think I've shown off the cockatrices, so why not? And yeah, I mean, if you've ever played this version, or Final Fantasy in general, you know that the cockatrices are a pain in the neck for the exact reason that you're seeing right now, because, well, they can stone you. And so, unfortunately, it looks like we're gonna, if this keeps up, we're probably gonna lose some experience for Ramza there, because these guys are all gonna go down. Oh well, can't do much about that. That's just how it goes. At this point, I'm not really worried about keeping everyone together. When I was doing the level 11 or level 10 class change run, it was important to keep everyone even, because if one person gained more experience, then, well, we'd be in trouble. But anyway, talk to this guy, and we get a cube, which we're going to need to take on, not this crystal, but the next one. But I figured we were in the area, and why not, and we get some useful treasures anyway. And yeah, so we get 6,400 gil, not 64,000, another 5,000 here. And then we get a defender from that chest, more gil, and a ribbon, and a wizard staff. So those last two items are the really big reasons why I came here. So as you can see, the wizard staff is going to boost our attack. Not anything respectable, but, you know, whatever. And then the ribbon... Wait. Oh, it's a head. It's, yeah, a piece of armor. So then, yeah, the ribbon, not great for... Well, actually, let me check something real quick. I'll have to keep that in mind. I might actually want to give Ramza the ribbon at some point, just to ward off special attacks, even though, yeah, even though I can't actually, even though it makes this defense slightly worse. And I'm also going to use teleport just to get out of here. I don't want to have to walk all the way out, because, well, like I said, I have a lot I want to do today, so I need to keep things moving a bit here, so I don't lose my pace too much. So now the next thing we want to do is visit that town to the right of us. And when we get there, I'm going to go ahead and rest up. And I don't know if I've shown off the trolls. They're an old enemy in terms of the game. We've seen them before. But I think when I've encountered them before, I was still doing the level 10 class change. So I was running away from every battle at that point. So I'll go ahead and show this one off. And then from here, we should be good to just head straight to the next dungeon to try to get the next crystal taken care of. So, Yeah, I think that's really everything. I mean, I don't think you... I'm not positive to the waterfall cavern at this point. So I may have wasted some time. But again, this is just the order I've always kind of done things. This is actually the first time I decided not to go to Gaia before going to the desert. I usually go to Gaia, then the desert, then back to Gaia, even though that really makes no sense. So, you know, old habits die hard, I suppose. Now, let's see. Where is the inn? I do want to rest up before moving on. I'm pretty sure there's an inn here somewhere, right? Is there not an inn? I mean, I can always use a tent if I need to, but I just figured there was an inn in every town. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. I was going to say, that would be really weird if there wasn't an inn here. But thankfully, we don't have to worry about it. Alright, so quickly rest up, and then we will continue on with the plot. And then, let's see. So now what we want to do is, well, the next person we're going to want to find is in this town. And they're in the, it should be in the lower right corner here somewhere. So, let's see, maybe across this bridge. Yep, there we go. You're the person I'm looking for. I am. Wait, what's going on? Why are you floating away? Is she a ghost? Well, I don't know if I want a barrel. I don't know if I want to ride a barrel made by a ghost to get to our next location. That just doesn't seem very safe at all. But I guess it's too late now. And we get another little cutscene here. Not the fanciest of scenes, but you know, it gets the job done, I guess. Anyway, so we are in the Sunken Shrine now. Alright, so where we want to go is, first things first, we want to head to this room. I think there should be a room. Nope, there's no room here. Oh, it's further up, sorry. It's a little bit further up. There's a room to the right that we want to check out, which is going to have some treasure in there for us. And we have some new enemies, relatively speaking. The shark isn't new, but the white shark is new. And yeah, I'll throw a Thundara in there just for good measure. We should be able to take these guys out without too much problem, but we'll see. Yeah, not too much trouble at all. And again, most of the enemies here aren't going to be much trouble. Still, you should probably fight every enemy because then you don't have to worry about grinding as much. But yeah, most of the enemies here aren't going to be much of a problem. And normally I would edit out this battle, but I wasn't paying attention when I ran into this encounter, so I'm not going to interrupt my commentary for that. Alright, now to this chest we get 2,000 gil. And so now we want to head to the left, and there's going to be a room all the way across here. And we have a new enemy, the Water Naga. And yeah, as with most enemies at this point, again, not too difficult attacks. Most of the enemies here will be weak to thunder, I believe, so you can use Thundara if you want, but again, unless they show up in groups. Yeah, so the next room we want is up here. And in truth, I probably didn't do this in the most efficient fashion because, well, no, actually it doesn't matter because there is another way to get where we want to get. And really, you don't even need, before I thought that you needed to use Thundara. I thought you needed Thundara to be able to defeat the white sharks, but my wizard, Ramza, is actually defeating them with no problem using his physical attacks. So, I mean, if you run into a group of them, yeah, you'll probably need to use... You will probably need to use Thundara in that case, but otherwise you should be fine. And I'm actually going to go ahead and use gauntlets on this group of enemies. Something I want to point out is the Defender Sword that we just picked up can be used to cast Blink, and I didn't actually check. I should probably equip that now that I think about it. I didn't even bother looking at that, but we'll do it after we will do it after this battle. And you know, these groups of enemies, these like groups of like 9 enemies are really annoying. I mean, they're not difficult to kill, but like there's just so many of them, it takes forever. Yeah, and I mean, as you can see, they're getting cleared out pretty quickly there, so not very tough, just have to wait for all of them to go through their animations. Now let's see if that defender is actually a better sword, and it is, slightly, but it is. So, yeah, we're good there, and we can continue on. And we have another new enemy, the sea snake, and I imagine, as with most enemies, most of the snake enemies, weak physical, so watch out for that. And that's a nice looking sword. It kind of reminds me of some of the swords you see in like Final Fantasy Tactics, like those really thick great swords that like what's your name, Melia Duel, or like Sid or Orlandu, I suppose is what his name actually is, would use. So yeah, kind of cool there. And for the most part, again, none of these guys are really a threat. I think you could challenge these dungeons in any order you want, so in theory you could have come here. I don't know of any good reason why you could not have come here first, but alright, so yeah, we have some new enemies here. Sorry for the awkward pause there. You can blame the long load times. That's one random thing to mention here. For some reason, the PSP versions have some really long load times at random places, and it's not just Final Fantasy 1 for the PSP, but I've been doing a test run of Final Fantasy 2 for the PSP, as I'm considering that to be my next project, and yeah, the load times there are just insane. Like, it's so bad that when you run into a random battle for the first time, like when you first start playing the game, it usually takes so long to load. But yeah, when you run into a battle for the first time, like after loading up the game, the loading screen is so long that they actually place at the bottom, now loading after a while. So like, usually when you go into a battle, when you run into a battle, it's kind of like what you see in Final Fantasy, where the screen goes white, but it stays white for so long that they actually put down at the bottom of the screen like a little chocobo running, and it says now loading. And so, yeah, the load times can be a bit ridiculous. I mean, I usually don't mind load times that much, but it's one thing that, you know, I've been playing PlayStation systems for so long now, and I've been reading about it for so long that I've actually started noticing, oh yeah, these load times are actually kind of long compared to what I see other people who might be playing on, like, you know, other systems are seeing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still a Sony PlayStation, I'm a Sony guy for life, but, you know, it is something that I've started to notice a little bit more recently. And I'm actually not going the right way, or I'm not, well actually, technically I am going the right way, but I am not going the right way in the sense that there's a treasure I want at the very top of this screen, and obviously I'm at the bottom of the screen. So now I have to walk all the way to the top. So just remember where I am right now, because I might just meet you back here as opposed to... I might just show off me walking... I mean, instead of showing me walking all the way back, I can just say, meet me at the bottom. As you can see, path all the way to the back, but I don't want to just show off more random encounters than I need to. So, yeah, the room we're looking for is right here. Yeah, so the room we want is right here, and we get a diamond armor from the chest, which I believe is an upgrade for our ninja, if I can pick the right thing. Wait, can the ninja not equip the diamond armor? Huh. I just figured that he could equip everything, but apparently not. Alright. So that was kind of a worthless journey up here then. Can we use it for anything else? Oop. Okay. Alright, so I will just meet you back at the bottom there. If for some reason I run into a new enemy, which I doubt I will show that off. Okay, I'm back. I'm beside the room where I got the light axe. Now, one thing I'm starting to reconsider is whether or not running actually causes you to run into more encounters. Now, I always assumed that was just kind of conventional wisdom, because I'm pretty sure that was the case in Final Fantasy IV. Like, I'm almost positive that if you sprinted in Final Fantasy IV, you ran into more encounters. But now that I think about it, and I thought that was true for Final Fantasy II as well, but now that I think about it, was there even a dash feature in the original Final Fantasy? I can't imagine that there was, or it would surprise me if there was. So maybe I'm just mistaken about that. I don't know. Maybe I should start running around and see what happens. But anyway, there are a ton of rooms on this floor, and most of them are useless. So we're just going to skip most of those. I'm going to confirm. Oh, I can actually equip the diamond armlet, because that makes sense. I can equip the diamond armlet, but I can't equip the diamond armor. Well, actually, no, I guess that does make sense. Never mind. Because they both go into the same slot there, so that would work. Anyway, and actually now that I think about it, maybe I should give that to Penelo instead if she can equip it. Let's see if she can. Yeah, that actually makes... All it does is it raises his evasion, which, not saying that's useless, but I'd rather have more characters with higher defense than one character with high defense and high evasion and everyone else kind of slacking off there. So anyway, next room we want to hit up is on the top level. So we're at the top level of the floors. This is the second from the left. Then that room to the right is another one we want to hit, as is the room beneath it. So there should be a treasure in here with 4,100 gil, and hey look, a mermaid. Well, you should know who we are. We are the Heroes of Light. I mean, doesn't everyone know that at this point? Well, that's unfortunate. I'm a conservationist, I suppose. I don't want you guys going extinct. But, let's see. The next floor we want is over here. And then we get 5,000 gil from this one. Now, how am I supposed to get over? Is there a way to get back there? Let me think. Maybe I have to run up to the top here. Yeah, I'm running now. It doesn't seem like I'm running into any encounters, so I'm thinking this floor should be pretty safe for us. Now, can I run across here? And then that brings me over. It does. Awesome. So now we get diamond gloves, a diamond helm, and the Rosetta Stone, which is the item that we actually need to continue on with the plot there. So, let's cross on over. There are a few more things that we need to pick up, or not that we need to, but that we can pick up before we leave. So let's see. If I go down here, there should be rooms on the left and right that I want to visit. Yeah. Or am I at the bottom yet? Maybe I'm not at the bottom yet. Let's see. Yeah, that's not the right one. So there it is. So we want to go on this floor to get an antidote. And then we want to also pick up something from here. Alright, the diamond shield. So let's see if Zidane can equip any of this stuff. Nope. Alright, fair enough. So let's teleport our way back to the first floor. Because, well, I don't want to have to walk all the way back. And there's no need to. So we'll teleport back to the first floor, so that's one more teleport spell. This is a much nicer version of teleport than... Well, I guess it's not nicer because it's essentially the same as the warp spell in Final Fantasy II. Anyway, so now that we're back on the first floor, or we are on the first floor, right? This is this is the third floor, right? Let me just double check that. Yeah, so this is the third floor, and now what we want to do is head to the west, and I think that we should be able to get in there now that we have the Rosetta Stone. Before we wouldn't be able to, but now we should be good. One thing about this game that makes it much easier than its previous incarnations is that so one thing that makes this easier than its previous incarnations is simply that you have MP, and so like you can actually restore your ability to use magic in the middle of a dungeon with the ethers. So previous incarnations, I'm sure most of you know, you had spell charges, so you could use each spell in a tier a fixed number of times, and then from there, that was basically it. And the only way to restore those charges was with the tent or by going to a shop. I mean, not shop, but by going to an inn. That was the only way to heal up there before. So, yeah, so like in a dungeon like this, where you're running into a lot of encounters and you really need your thunder spells, you'd have to be pretty creative to survive. And on top of that, like you probably wouldn't be able to do the second half of this dungeon right away. You probably would need to, unless you've been doing a lot of grinding and are avoiding a lot of encounters, you probably would need to run away from a lot of enemies or not run away. You would probably need to leave halfway through, heal, and then come back to take on the second half. But because of ethers, we don't need to. So, yeah, we're getting pretty close to the end of this dungeon. This video is going to end up being a little bit longer than my previous videos. I usually like to keep it at about half an hour in length, but I'm not afraid to go longer if I feel like it's necessary. And I kind of want to get this entire thing done in one episode, so that's what I'm going with. And I'll probably do the same thing with the final crystal next time, but we'll deal with that when we get there. As you can see, most of these enemies, or this is a new enemy, the Deep Eyes, but he's no stronger than anyone else, so there you go. Now, there are some really important treasures on this floor, so we want to make sure we pick all of them up. In terms of the treasures in this dungeon, I think this floor has the most important of all of them combined, so I mean, obviously the Gill is always nice, but more so than the Gill, there are some treasures here that are going to greatly alter the way we're playing the game moving forward. One thing that you might notice, and I've said this before, is that it's about this point in the game and about this level where we really start to see your master, if you brought one with you, take off in terms of their damage. So, yeah, if you brought one with you, you can expect to reap the rewards here pretty soon. Now, let's see. I think I need to go over, and hopefully I did this right. The room should be right here. Perfect. So, the treasures we want are in here. We get 5,400 gil, which, okay, that's nice. But the real prize is right here, the Giant's Gloves. And we also get a little bit more gil. Awesome. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and use a couple of ethers here. I also got pretty lucky there. I should have been more careful. I ran into a forced encounter with 8 cockatrices, and somehow no one got petrified, which is really a remarkable occurrence. So, I'm going to count my blessings. I should probably save my game in case something goes wrong, but even if I saved my game and I lost my progress, I'd have to come right... Well, no, actually I should save my game. And if I lost, I'd have to come right back here and re-record, but no, I guess I wouldn't. I could always just edit stuff out if I needed to. And I shouldn't have any problems at this point, but you never know when another group of cockatrices might show up, so let's be careful with that. Now, the next room I'm looking for is right here, and there should be an item in there that we want. And I use the term want somewhat loosely because, as you can see, it's just a light axe, but in case you're someone who maybe has a pair of warriors you're bringing with you and you want to equip both with light axes, well, now your dream can be fulfilled. Alright, so the last couple of treasures we want are in here, and they also have an important one that we want to pick up. So let's see, we have some gil there. And then we also have some more gil. but more importantly, a second ribbon. So let's go ahead and equip that now. I don't think I want to put that on Zidane at this moment, but I will put it on, well, yeah, I'll give it to, no, I don't know if I want to give it to Ramsey yet. Let's give it to Palom instead. And, yeah, I know that was a forced encounter panel that I walked into, but for some reason it was a forced encounter panel with like a white shark. I don't quite understand the point of putting such a weak enemy in a forced encounter panel, but then again, I don't make the decisions around here, so there you go. Alright, so we're on the final floor, and we're going to be looking to fight our next fiend here, but this is a pretty sprawling area, so it's easy to get lost, so I would just be careful about that. Yeah, so I mean, there are a lot of dead ends and whatnot, but there are no treasures on this floor, so no reason to go wandering beyond where you need to go. Yeah, so ignore that path, come left, and then we're gonna... And then when we hit this room, we're gonna take that to pretty close to where our next boss is. Again, pretty big room, just ignore most of the side paths here. No treasures on this floor at all. So, no. And of course, as soon as I say that, I got caught up on a little bit of a dead end there, but nothing too serious. And alright, so there's the... We're on our last little straightaway here. So from here, you just follow the linear path up to a little chamber to the north, and this is where we fight our next boss. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly restore my MP a little bit here. We shouldn't need too much. Kraken isn't going to be that difficult, but yeah, just to be safe. And I'm going to go ahead and save again, just because you never know what could happen. So, alright, let's do this then. Yeah, I mean, who would have thought that we could breathe underwater? But we are the 4 heroes of light, so nothing is impossible for us. And, well, that's... You're an unfortunate looking fiend. Sure, they will. One of us is going to Davy Jones' locker, and it's not going to be us, I'm afraid. Sorry. Alright, so at this point, again, basic strategy applies. So let's use haste on Ramza. Let's use... Let's see, which one do I want to use? I think I want to use Null Frost here, perhaps. No, actually, no, I want... Yeah. Yeah, Null Frost would be fine. I think he might use Blazara. I don't know if he even does, but whatever. Now, what I also want to do is I want to have Ramza use Giant's Glove on himself, which casts Saber on him, which boosts his accuracy and his attack power. And then we'll do the same thing for Zidane in the next turn. And from there, we'll just basically wail on him. Now, if you've been leveling up a bit more, you might have access to the level 8 tier spells at this point, like Blazaga, Thundaga, and like, or I guess we do have Firaga, but you might have like Holy and whatnot, so you could always use those if you want, but I don't, so I'm not going to. But I will use the Giant's Glove on myself, and have you go ahead and cast Heal on all of us, have Ramza attack, and then we'll cast Haste on... Let's see, where's Haste? There we go. Have him cast Haste on... if I can talk. Have him cast Haste on Zidane. But as you saw with Ramza there, 1,000 points of damage. He's become a house now, and defeating bosses isn't going to take very long because we can basically wail on them in 2 turns. Or, I guess in this case, 3 turns. But, yeah, it doesn't take that much in terms of actual attacking turns to finish off these guys. So he should pretty much be done after this. Yep, easy enough. Yeah, so Ramza is basically just going to become the destroyer of most bosses moving forward. And that's basically why I brought him along, so that he could use that damage dealing potential in the long term. But now, having done all of this, we've restored our 3rd crystal. And this will once we see our characters do their little waving dance, then there we go. Once they've done their little waving dance there, we'll see a little cutscene which shows off the third optional dungeon, which has now been unlocked, the Lifespring Grotto. As I've said multiple times now, we're not going to be doing that now, but soon enough. My basic game plan is to go and restore the next crystal, then beat the game, the main storyline, and then I'll just come back to like an old save file and start exploring the dungeons after that. So that's my plan there. But for now that we are outside, I'm just going to save my game, and I think I'm going to call it quits here. So next time we will try to restore the fourth and final crystal. Well, I guess it's third on the list here, but yeah, the fourth and final crystal. Until then, this has been Marathon Hurdler. I want to thank you as always for checking out my videos, and hopefully I will see you next time.